All right, music fans, welcome back. Harmless Dave here, talking real music in real time for a few real people out there, just like you and just like me. I want to thank the patrons out there who are on my Patreon page. I kind of hit a milestone over there. If you'd like to sign up for Patreon, it's $1 a month, $2 a month. I have a few really high dollar value contributors over there who believe in what I do and who support the channel. I appreciate them, but I also appreciate the $1 a month. I also have conversations with people over there every day. It's actually getting a little difficult to keep up with. So thank you so much. It's a good problem to have. Now, before I get rolling with this video, this is Albert Cummings. All right. He knows how to play guitar. This came out fairly recently. I got to tell you, if you like just good old-fashioned guitar-driven rock, blues, and even a little bit of country, I would say, in there, although it's not overtly country, he'd be considered more of a blues guy, Albert Cummings, but he's just so good. And he's just fun to listen to. It's very accessible. You can crank it up in the car. Production value is excellent, not a lot of clutter. This is the kind of music that used to be made all the time, and it used to get on mainstream rock stations, baby. Albert Cummings and his album 10. All right. So speaking of guitar slingers, Ted Nugent, always in the news. Uncle Ted getting lambasted again because there's this article out there, Ted Nugent denies dodging the draft again. Okay. And we're talking about the Vietnam War, by the way. First of all, the Vietnam War was immoral, and Ted Nugent recently has said that that war was immoral. This doesn't disparage anybody who served in the Vietnam War and who was unjustly and unconstitutionally drafted into the war. Okay, I'm very libertarian on this issue. Your country should not force you to fight in a war, especially an immoral war, right? Basically, here, sign your own death certificate, right? Or if you want lifelong health issues, sign right here. PTSD, sign up over here, okay? Now, again, I'm not disparaging people who choose to go into the service, military, that is. It is, it's something that needs to get done. It's kind of like a necessary evil. But our country has been involved in these things now, what I call these endless wars or these regime change wars. We've been doing this stuff for like a half a century now. And if you look at Vietnam or Afghanistan or Iraq, any of these places where we've gone, we don't really have much to show for it now, do we? We have a national debt that is over $30 trillion. And you can trace probably about half of that to these needless engagements around the world. And we continue to do stuff, by the way. We, of course, are sending billions of dollars to Ukraine right now. And you've got people in the rock music business like, I don't know, Foreigner, raising money and giving it to Ukraine, not giving it to veterans who are killing themselves each and every day. This is a fact. Something like 22 per day. I don't know if that stat is current, but that's what it was last year. And it's ridiculous that we're basically creating more and more Vietnam veterans with huge problems. And Ted Nugent is being called out because he did this interview for High Times magazine. And according to Uncle Ted, he was just playing with them. He was saying stuff that was crazy. He obviously wasn't into the High Times scene because, again, Ted Nugent doesn't do drugs, and I don't think he ever did any foreign substances, ingesting them and so forth. I hear he has an occasional glass of wine. That's what I've heard about Nugent. But he's not into drugs. He's been anti-drug, anti-dope, as he would say, for a very long time. But recently, people like Joan Jett and a few other folks have called him out because he's not really a tough guy because he refused to serve his country. Okay. Well, first of all, again, even if it was true, which it isn't, the military draft is unconstitutional. I'm just gonna say it. I mean, there are a few people out there that would probably disagree with me, but no country, no government should force you to lose your life. If you are to pursue life, liberty, and then happiness, kind of hard to pursue happiness when you don't have life. But what the media tends to do to Ted Nugent is they tend to amplify something and they continue to call it out. Like, Nugent thinks he's a tough guy, but he avoided the draft, or he denies the story about him avoiding the draft. And he's done this on numerous occasions. He's got this campfire thing. If you tune in, you can hear it for yourself. Not difficult, right? Just listen to Uncle Ted. It makes a lot of sense. And here's the deal. Even if he were serious, right? And he said to this publication that he went out of his way and did some crazy stunt, right, to get out of it. Good for him. Good for him, because we've had a whole bunch of Ted Nugent greatness. We've had about 45 years worth of Ted Nugent greatness since that article came out. So I'd rather have Uncle Ted be here instead of him fighting in a useless, endless war, which is what Vietnam was. And again, my apologies to every Vietnam veteran on the planet who served his country, because again, you trust, like you trust the medical industrial complex with your health, you're trusting the military industrial complex with your life, right? And in the older days, I think people had a higher degree of trust, hey, I'm serving my country, this is a good thing. And many people around the world are serving this country and doing a good thing. I would just not put Vietnam on the top of the list of great things that we've done. Technically, we lost that war, right? Just like we lost Afghanistan. So the country in the last 40 or 50 years hasn't had a really good track record when it engages in war around the world. And we tend to pick fights with countries. Right now, we got this thing going on in Taiwan. Look, folks, we're going to have to party like it's 1999. I'm thinking of those Prince lyrics, like the bomb could go off any day, right? And we're just sitting here because, we trust these people, and you should be skeptical. You should not trust. So I agree with Uncle Ted on the premise that the war itself was unjust. Now, whether or not you don't believe what he said when it comes to the High Times article, that's up to you. If you think he's BSing his way out of this, to me, it's irrelevant. The publications that are running this over and over again, what they're trying to do is provoke their readers into thinking that Ted doesn't walk the walk, right? Well, if he really cared about the country and he really was patriotic, then, he would have served in Vietnam and not avoided the draft. That's the premise of what everybody is saying. And the premise is a lie. Just at that point, you should shut down and say, this isn't true. And then if you're still skeptical, even if it's not true, we used to have an anti-war opposition in the country. And a lot of those people, by the way, came out of the hippie movement, right? And then they went into like government, or they went into business, and then they became warmongers. They became neoliberals or neoconservatives, and they think war is great for the economy. We can build weapons, we can ship weapons to other countries, and then those weapons can wind up in the hands of actual terrorists, people that want to do us or other countries harm, like in Ukraine, for instance, and they don't care. They think it's great, so long as they're selling stuff, they're moving products, they don't really care whether it's Raytheon or Northrop Grumman or whoever, whatever military contractor is out there. They're not really all that concerned about the lives that get lost because of this. And also the debt, the national debt, which continues to skyrocket. And again, a lot of it is due to our foreign policy. So Ted Nugent, usually right, is right again. I'm here to stick up for him every so often. He actually appeared on this show at one point and did an interview here. Really cool. I was just blown away. I tried to keep up with Uncle Ted. He's 73 years old. I just can't do it. I mean, he's probably going to live another 50 years because, I mean, the energy and the fact that he's got to be around to actually put these people in their place. And he gets, I tell you what, he gets energized from this. Plus, he's got a brand new album out called Detroit Muscle, which is a must listen to. And I believe he's out there doing concerts, and he's got his campfire show, I think, on Friday night. I think he's on Real America's Voice now, which is kind of a big deal. So good for Uncle Ted. You know, the media, they can't keep up with Uncle Ted, and they just put out these headlines. You know, if this were anybody else that they liked that was anti-war or had a really good reason as to why they didn't serve in Vietnam, like, you know, they didn't avoid the draft, that would be the reason. They would be saying, you know, hey, you know, this person, they did the honorable thing. They wanted to be around for their kids. They wanted to be around for their spouse or whoever, their family, but not with Uncle Ted. It's just another way to get clicks and views. And I get it. It's just a cottage industry unto itself. But anyway, again, if you want some great music here, folks, check this out. Albert Cummings. The album's called 10. Could be his 10th album. Could be because, what, 10 songs? No, it's actually 13 songs. So it's not because of the songs, but it is really good. Great guitar work. Very, very smooth to listen to. If you want to rock out, but you don't want your ears to bleed, Albert Cummings is the way to go. All right, people, thanks again for you patrons. Again, good day for me over on Patreon. We hit a plateau. We actually kind of retreated from that plateau because it's the first of the month and weird things happen in the first of the month. People are like, oh crap, I signed up for that and I don't want to do that anymore. I do it too with certain subscriptions, and you know, I would probably cancel my subscription to me too, but I would also maybe reinstate my subscription to me. Maybe I would take a break and then come back. I don't know. But if you'd like to sign up, Patreon, it's only $1 a month. That's the low end. And you can do any dollar amount above that. And again, from people all over the world, in Australia and the UK, and just, it's weird to be global, but apparently I'm global. I want to thank everybody for watching and for being a patron. And yes, I will see you very soon.